Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show will revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Moosie Drier and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Moosie Drier, and today we are thrilled to welcome a three-time nominated Grammy Award artist. She has over 100 credits to her name. She's a former Miss Teenager World. She's appeared on stage and screen, including something that I saw her in on Broadway, Kiss of the Spider-Woman. And she starred in some films with Robin Williams in Moscow on the Hudson and with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the sci-fi classic The Running Man. Please help us welcome Maria Conchita Alonso. Maria, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well,
welcome. It's a cold day, I'm all covered up and cozy here with my baby. Hi, Cookie, say hi.
Oh,
say hi.
Hey, Cookie.
Yeah, I want to start by going back with you. You were born in Cuba, but moved to Venezuela when you were just a kid. And later on, you were Miss Teen World. What do you remember about all that time and, that time in your life?
Oh, man, I had the greatest grown-up world in my life. We left Cuba to Venezuela because of communism when I was 5 years old. And so I relate more to Venezuela than to Cuba, obviously. Even when I was a kid, my mom would like, Niña, girl, you're Cuban. And I'm like, no, I'm not, And so I entered the beauty pageant, not because I've always been like a hippie, free, don't care about what people say about me, don't care about what society tells you to do and say, or to be, nothing. I just wanted to live my life, and I still am like that. But one of my brother's girlfriend at the time, she knew that I wanted to be an actress, and she knew that I wanted to sing. So she said, the best way, in Venezuela at least, the easiest way for you to enter into that world is by being in a beauty pageant. So I'm like, okay. So I told my mom, and she was not a mom that pushed, no. She's like, whatever you want to do in life, I'm there to help you. So I entered the pageant, hidden from my father, because a good Catholic young girl is not allowed in that world. So then, obviously when he found out, he went crazy, like, oh my God, almost a divorce. But then he was very, very proud and happy when I won. And yes, that was the best thing I could do, because after that, I became a big model. And after that, I was Miss Venezuela for the Miss World pageant. And that opened the doors where I wanted to be. I didn't care about beauty. I didn't care about, all that for me is nonsense, I just wanted to act and sing. So yeah, that opened the doors.
Right. You collaborated with a composer named Giorgio Moroder, is that right?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And so can you walk us through, like, what was the first time it was like to hear your voice on the radio, and how did the whole music thing come about?
I was in the Miss Venezuela, and I play guitar, and I would just like cocktail parties and stuff. I would just play, for fun. And then I was at a place where we used to go all the time called Morrocoy at the beach. And I was at a friend's yacht, and a yacht across from mine comes the face of this guy saying, Rudy is his name. Hey, do you want to record an album? He was like the number one producer and composer and producer of that era, of that time. And I'm like, yeah, okay, see you in Caracas, all right, yeah. And that's how it happened.
For those of people who aren't in Los Angeles, I can't tell you, it happens all the time, every day. You're on a yacht and somebody across from another yacht is, calling your name and making you a star. It happens all the time. So
yeah, well, that's how it happened. And it was the 80s. It was the 70s. It was the 70s. Oh my God. And disco music was what it
Right.
was. Donna Summer, Gloria Gaynor, Thelma Houston, all that, right?
Mhm.
And so my album was a disco song called Love Maniac in English. Um, it was fantastic. It was number one for months. Um, and what the label did was, they started playing on the radio, which is the first time that I heard myself. I was driving, like, and I'm like, oh my God, that's me. And I wanted to, stick my head out of the window and say, I'm on the radio, but I couldn't. I was already very well known. And I was at the same time that my first song came out, I was doing my first soap opera as an actress. So anyway, they changed my name to Ambar because what they did, a little, game was to tell the audience, who is she? Who is she? People would go, Donna Summer. I mean, that you know, and they're no, she's Venezuelan. Her name is Ambar. Who is Ambar? So they played that game for about a couple of weeks, and so the expectation of, the song became like, I don't know how you can find it in you
Oh
can
yeah,
Google
yeah.
it, Love Maniac, and
YouTube, by the way, so you can hear it, you can see it.
No. Go buy it, people.
Yes, that's
Don't
true.
watch it on YouTube. Go
Right.
buy it.
Yes.
this from the
Okay.
70s.
I know.
I had so much fun. I tell you, I was wild. I was a rebel, very much. I drove motorcycle. I had my own motorcycle. And I just lived the life that I wanted to live. I have a few regrets, not many, but who doesn't? You
Of
know,
course. Of course.
I think I would do everything again as I did. Maybe just listen to my father a bit more, than what I did. I did not listen to him. I had a great family. They divorced when I was 19, so it was a shock because you never heard anybody screaming at the house or being angry. Nothing. So obviously, but yeah, I'm very, very, very. I was very lucky growing up the way I did, and in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Oh my God, the best
Right.
times.
So the shortly after that, you starred in a your own TV series called named Claudia, right?
Well,
Your very own show. How'd that happen? Was that another yacht that came by and another person just hey, come be a TV star? No.
well, Claudia was a soap opera. When I say soap opera over there, they were prime time, 9 p.m., right?
Mm.
Then with time, the soaps started to be played. There was one at 1 p.m., but the prime time was 9. I was always in the 9 o'clock time slot. But so because beauty pageants open doors. So I was offered that role, the lead role, Claudia. And what happened was that there was a group of actresses at the network that hated me because they didn't have leading roles. And I could understand that, I mean, and right away I had one.
Right.
So they did they all got together and they misbehaved quite well. And then the head of the company, of the label, I mean of the TV network, Radio Caracas Televisión, RCTV, he said, really? Well, so they stopped the soap opera. That lasted, I think we shot maybe 20 episodes.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then they started a new soap opera called Maria Elena, which was a huge success. And it lasted for like, I don't know, a year or a year and a half, because soap operas over there are not like here. Here they last for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they don't know. And it was fantastic. So it's like, oh, you guys are doing this? Well, no, I have a much better script, much better story. And they put me in this also with the same guy, Giancarlo, who was the most handsome guy and wanted of the country back then, and I was the girl most wanted. And that's how. And then I started touring, and the name of my tour was Ambar is Maria Conchita. So, I taped the soap opera during the week, and the weekends I was touring inside of Venezuela.
Oh, very hectic. So
Yeah.
you were so popular already. So what prompted you to say, I'm going to move to the United States now? What prompted you to do that?
Well, I just didn't want. I'm very, I don't like to repeat. That's why I don't like to do theater much, because then after a month, I'm like, okay, now what? You know, and on Broadway was fantastic when I started on Kiss of the Spider Woman,
Spider-Man.
which I was the first Latina not born in the U.S. to start on Broadway. So
Amazing.
for me, I didn't care for Broadway because I'm really a rocker, but my mom loved Broadway like you can't imagine. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this for my mom. Also, it's fantastic to have a name there, to have that in your credits, your background. So I said, I'm not going to stay here doing the same thing over and over again. What else can you do? I did all the soap operas. I did a couple of plays. I recorded a few albums. But I would always watch the Oscars and the Grammys and all that. And I'm like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. And I just left, after, okay, what am I'm still going to be doing soap operas here. I can do any plays. And I just left and I came here. I didn't know anybody. And back then, the airline that it doesn't exist anymore, Viasa, it had direct flights to LA, Caracas, and 7 hours. So I had friends that would come here for the weekend. They would jump on a plane on Fridays and they would go back on Monday. So through one of those friends, I met this manager. She became my manager. She's from England, and she introduced me to a small agency, um, Sharon Camp, fantastic, wonderful woman. And that's how my career started here.
Oh, well,
Excellent. Well, you'd obviously already worked on a few things, but I think you're, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what I remember your first big role was Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams and Paul Mazursky directed. What was that like?
Oh
That
man. I mean, that was the first big film, and the first movie that came out. But before that, I had done a small movie with Abel Ferrara called Fear City, with Tom Berenger, Jack Scalia, Melanie Griffith, Billy D. Williams.
wow.
My
Okay.
part was small, but I was one of the girls that danced on the bar. It was about a killer, and the girls were topless. So I'm like, please, I don't want to be topless. He said, okay, yeah, and the producer go, okay, you don't have to be topless. So after I got Moscow on the Hudson and he came out, he was so upset with himself. Why? Why did I? She should have done it like it was written. And because Fear City came after Moscow on the Hudson. Yeah. So anyway, that was Robin's. I think it was Robin's first movie because he came from Mork and Mindy, the TV series. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to be with Mork. Oh my God. It was amazing. It was the most fun time. Um, him and Paul, Robin and Paul would just laugh hysterical, and they had to cut, And it was during that time that I was shooting the film in New York that Maggie, the English manager, got me together with Giorgio Moroder to be one of the songs for the soundtrack of Scarface. So Giorgio wrote the music, and I wrote the lyrics in Spanish, and I sang it. It's called Vamos a Bailar, and it's in the soundtrack of Scarface.
Oh, that's so cool.
and what was Robin like to work with?
That
Wonderful. I can see why he couldn't be in this world, because he was an angel. He was too much for this world. He had to escape any way he could because he was too pure. That's the way I saw him. I'm not saying he was perfect. No one is. We're all humans. but his soul was very pure, and he was very shy, and he will hide his shyness through uh, being a comedian. So yeah, he was very humble. Um, beautiful guy,
Yeah.
beautiful guy.
You know, a lot of people don't understand that, but it does make perfect sense. And I've seen examples of that in my decades of life. That so if somebody told somebody else Robin Williams was shy, you'd be, oh come, like he comes off as the opposite of that, anything but shy. But that's what he's hiding behind. You know, the real person's way down there behind all this show, these bells and whistles.
The reason why I got there, because I was just recently here, arrived, in LA, and I was taking jazz and ballet and exercise classes all day long. There was an academy called Dupre, which was the best dance academy in town. And that's what I was doing all the time. My first enter into the industry was in directed by Ricardo Montalban, the Fantasy Island. And I played an Italian, which I also played an Italian in Moscow on the Hudson. So I hired a coach to learn how to speak with an Italian accent. And I went, and when I was reading, Paul couldn't stop laughing. And I'm like, why is he laughing so much? I couldn't understand that I was so funny. Maybe I don't, it's like I'm like, so I would like stop me, like, okay, and then okay, go on, and then I would go on, and he would start laughing again. So I did that first, just him and me. Then I went back with Robin and him, and then I did camera with a scene with filmed like if we were doing the scene, and then I had to wait for about a month. It was, I just remember Ornella Muti, who was a very big Italian actress. It was between her, somebody else that I don't remember, and me. And then I was at my ballet class at Dupre when I got the part. The head of the company knocked on the window. There was a window where you could see us dance like that, and then she just came in and said, "You got the part with Robin Williams," and everybody, yeah, it was so cool. It was very cool.
Fantastic. So you have the distinction of being in the very first film reviewed by Siskel and Ebert, which was Touch and Go. So you started it with Michael Keaton. So what do you remember about working with Keaton? And did you know that that was the first film that they reviewed?
No, I didn't know, and they liked me.
Yes, they did.
Thumbs up from
Yes.
Roger and
Yeah.
That's Maria Conchita Alonso playing the mother. You might remember her as the department store clerk in Moscow on the Hudson. Real good again this time. She's warm and funny in this movie, and so is Michael Keaton.
Working with Michael was nice. Michael is very serious. This was his first. It was a dramedy, really, but it was like his first, like kind of like more dramatic role than what he's done before, and it was very nice. We got along well. I do remember at some point one day in one of the scenes, I dared to tell him, why don't you do it like this?
No.
Oh my God. I don't know if he remembers that. He might not, but it doesn't matter. But it was very funny because it was like kind of like serious, but like thinking, what? But he was great. He did not get upset. He did not. He was really. We had a good chemistry.
Right.
I've been lucky. That all the actors that I worked with has been a great chemistry between us.
I want to ask you about A Fine Mess that you were in with Ted Danson, Howie Mandel, and directed by another legend, Blake Edwards.
It was a lot of fun. Blake was very laid back, such a warm person, handsome, and just enjoying everything in a very subtle way, and it was lovely. It was lovely. It was very, one of those silly films, slapstick, right? That's how
Yeah,
you call
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
stupid, whatever. But I had a lot of fun doing it. And I met Julie, which was married to Julie Andrews, and she's fantastic, beautiful, wonderful um, woman. And I went to a few parties at their house, and I met all these people, and Bruce Willis, whatever. And I'm just thinking, I'm someone that I am with someone because I connect with that person, not because who that person is. So when I tell my friends, like, Bruce Willis, Stallone, what, I'm like, I just, I just didn't connect.
Right.
I like them as people. They were really nice and funny and all that, but not romantically. So I follow my heart. Well,
Well, I do it. Let's talk about Running Man, the Running Man, because it's a sci-fi classic. You started with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Richard Dawson, Yaphet Kotto, Jesse Ventura, and even Mick Fleetwood was in it. So I read that the film underwent so many changes from the beginning to the end. So what was your experience in that film?
oh man, a lot of fun too. I mean, I read the script, obviously. I didn't have to audition. I just went and met Arnold, and I guess he's the one that had the last saying. And her name was Amber, just like my singing career, but with an E, Amber, and in Venezuela it was Ambar. But anyway, you pronounce it the same. So I remember when I arrived to the set, it was like, oh my gosh, I always wanted to be in one of these movies. It's like, it was like, oh my God, it was so incredible, so futuristic. And by reading the script, I didn't picture it like that. Paul Abdul was the choreographer, and so nice, so cool. And we had a lot of nighttime shooting, which at the beginning is like very hard, but then you get used to it. You wake up, you work at nighttime. You wake up at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m.
Hmm.
Hair, makeup, you have dinner, and then you go shoot till 6, 7 in the morning, and you go to sleep. They did tell my agent she's gaining weight. She can't, because our clothes were very, very, very tight, and they were very extreme with that. Just like she can't gain 1 pound. So it was great. Arnold had his chef in his motorhome, and just fun. Also, Dweezil Zappa was there. Uh,
Oh,
Frank Zappa's, an actor
Yeah.
there. He was great, and Nick. Oh my God, Mick Fleetwood. I love him. I love Mick. It was those were great times.
but I want to ask about a couple of other roles. You've had such a diverse career, so many amazing parts. I want to talk about Colors. So when that came out, it received such multitude of praise from critics all across the board. You're in it with Robert Duvall. So what do you remember of the film, and then seeing the accolades afterwards, like seeing the praise that the film got?
Right. Sean Penn too, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I think that it was Sean who convinced Dennis Hopper to to take me. I say it's funny because then, politically speaking, Sean and I don't think at all the same way. He praises Chavez and Fidel Castro, but anyway, that's something else. And so he's the one that said to Dennis, they went to my house once, and then we shot a scene that is a beautiful scene when we meet on camera, on the movie. And he told Dennis, we used to go that was the best part, when you used to go afterwards, every afternoon, every night, to see the dailies in the theater. It was so fun. And he told Dennis, you see, I told you, she was the one. And then I started going out with Dennis. Yeah. And also Dennis screamed at me once, very, very strongly, in a scene where at the end of the movie, all the gangs, we were all there, and the cops arrive, and we're just having a good time. We're drinking tequila, and we're just loud, I guess. Oh my goodness, Dennis just went out of his mind and got very upset with us. But anyway, yeah. We went to, people say, weren't you scared because there were real gang members there? I'm like, no. And we did go to clubs and to bars in East LA where the gang members hang out. And no, I was never scared of anything. No, I felt, I don't know. I think in life I'm just scared of war and sickness that won't go away,
Let me ask you about Vampire's Kiss with Nick Cage. Yeah, let's see, Nick Cage, Jennifer Beals, right? There's so many different accounts about that film, how that went down. What was that like for you? What was it like working with Nick Cage and all that?
Oh man. That movie was written so the role that I did and the role that Jennifer did would have been done by the same actress. That's that's the thought that they had when the story was being written. And so here's happens with Barry Shields, one of the producers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Barry, I could have done both parts. And he goes, I know enough, but I didn't know back then. So I'm like, oh man. So Nick didn't want Jennifer because she just came out of Flashdance. And so they all came to me to convince Nick that to give her a chance. That's a true story. And I'm like, oh God, I wanted to play both parts. Okay. So I go to Nick and I said, Nick, just, give her a chance. If you don't like the first scene that you guys do together, you don't like her, then say it and bye, And so he did, and he liked her, and the rest is history. It was fun. It was I love playing a virgin girl, which I wasn't.
What?
Well, one more film before we move on to other things. I want to ask about Predator 2 with Danny Glover, Gary Busey, Ruben Blades, and the late Bill Paxton. So when you joined the film, was it still set to star Schwarzenegger at that point?
No. It was just and and I cut my hair for the film. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make it more, like I wouldn't have long hair, and so that was a very big deal for me and for my fans. So they filmed when they were cutting my hair, and it was big news in this TV show called Siempre en Domingo in Mexico, which was one of the biggest show of the time. Mm-hmm. Every Sunday, it lasted like 5 hours or 6 hours. The show every Sunday, so they were like beep, 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 and then they announcing Maria Conchita cuts her hair and all that. It was really funny. Yeah. And again, I also had a wonderful time. Ruben Blade was great, and he was giving me. He would tell me, don't. You have to see the future. Don't go too crazy. Again, I never listened.
Well, I want to go back. You talked about it briefly. I saw you in Kiss of the Spider Woman. I saw you on Broadway in there. You were fantastic. Oh, wow. Yes, I went back then. So I actually saw it twice. I saw it with Cheetah, and then I saw it with you again. So there too. So I can't even believe that you were the first Latin-born actress to star in a Broadway show. It seems inconceivable to me that was a thing. But how did you get attached to it? And were you nervous following Cheetah onto it?
Well, I follow Vanessa Williams. It was Cheetah and then Vanessa Williams.
Vanessa Williams.
You can't be nervous. Obviously, I was, but it's not to that point that it will stop you from making it happen. I mean, I was in Venezuela shooting my last soap opera that I did. I was there for like almost a year in Venezuela, and then my manager tells me, you have this offer to audition, and I'm like, okay. So I finished my my soap, and on my way back to LA, I stopped in New York. I met them. They paid for like 3 days of rehearsals with the choreographer and with the voice teacher, who is like one of the best voice coaches on Broadway. She's done Glenn Close. She's huge. And then I came back home, and then a few days later, or a couple of days only, they said it was my part. It was mine. So I had a knee surgery. I think I had to go back like in 2 weeks to start rehearsing. And I did a knee surgery, and right, like 2 days later or 3 days later, I flew to New York and I started, rehearsing right after a knee surgery, which was okay. It was fine. I was going through a lot of things back then. I was bulimic. And once like right after a show on Sunday, our Black Day was Monday. We didn't work on Monday. So Sunday night after the second show, I just go to the dentist. And then he did surgery on me, all my gums, because of the bullying of the bulimia. He had to, I completely stopped my gums. So, but I didn't, and I had Sunday night, and then Monday, and then Tuesday I went back to work. I did not miss one day. I was under all these like painkillers and antibiotics and all these things, but I did not miss one day. And in one of the shows, it was my solo song, which was a ballad, Sooner or Later. I'm there alone with the spider wings, no dancers, nothing, just me alone. And I forget the lyrics. Completely forgot the lyrics from all the drugs that I was taking, right? Sure. And I'm a songwriter. I could not think of anything in any language. So, and I speak French, a little bit of Italian, nothing. So I started going like, so I'm like thinking that sounds like more like Arab, that entity. Oh. But it's like the whole song, except maybe the first 3 lines. I did that. I stood there and I have no idea. I got out and they're like, what happened? I'm crying. I don't know what happened. It was so tough. But hey, I never missed a day.
You know what? There were people in that audience who just thought that that's what that song was supposed to be. They don't know any different.
It wasn't in the show that I went to, because you were fantastic in the show that I went to. So
Thank you.
But a true performer, I bet she was fantastic even when she forgot the lyrics.
Yes,
because absolutely. She never broke. Sounds like you never broke character. And there you have it. Yeah.
Never. No. You can't. I mean, you just have to go for it. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, how difficult is that for you? I mean, because Broadway is a grueling schedule. I mean, because you have shows and then you have sometimes 2 shows a night, a day. So how tough?
We had 2 shows, Thursdays and Sundays.
Right.
And there on Broadway, it's so many rules. Like sure. You cannot, if you're looking this way, you cannot do this. Your eyes cannot do this. Oh my God, you get in trouble. You can't, obviously, you can't even move a little chair, nothing. So what Vanessa used to do, and I ended up doing too, was at the end of one of the songs, we competed with, was it a sax player, to see who lasted longer. You know, the sax player or our voice. So that was the fun thing for us to do, you know. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything, you know. But also during the Broadway, I shot a movie called Caught, C-A-U-G-H-T, Caught, and with Edward James Olmos. And the director was Bob Young, Robert M. Young. And we shot it in New Jersey. So I did that, I think it was a month and a half. And they would pick me up. At first, they would pick me up at 10. And then I'm like, the first week, and I'm like, I'm too tired, I can't, please pick me up at 11. So they would pick me up at 11, we'd go to New Jersey, we'd shoot, it was done in sequence, like beginning to end, which is the most amazing way to shoot a film, you know. Everything was, how do you call that?
In
sequence,
in chronological,
sequence, yeah. Scene 1, 2, 3, 4. No, not like scene 1 and then 50 and then 25. Yeah. No. This was amazing. And then they would pick me up at my place, and then they would drop me at the theater to do Broadway. So I played this. I was nominated for Independent Spirit Award as Best Actress. And it was so much fun, such a different character from them, the Spider Woman, the man eater, all that stuff, right? And so when we finished shooting the film, I'm like, oh no, now what am I going to do? Just to play? I was some of this energy. It was fantastic.
We with actors, especially people who've worked as much as you, there's usually a role that maybe you turned down because you were working on something else or you didn't like it, and then you look back and go, oh well, I'm glad I turned it down, or dang, I wish I would have taken that, I was wrong about that. Or any roles that got away that you look back on and go,
not really.
Okay,
not
good.
really. I wish I could have done the role in Scarface, but I was also working on another one movie.
Yeah.
I would have loved to play not Michelle Pfeiffer, the other part, the Latina. Yeah. But no, I don't think I.
Okay, well, that's good.
I did turn down, which I'm like, am I stupid? But it's like, even though I didn't behave like a diva and my ego was controlled, I think I was maybe, obviously, you get spoiled, obviously, when you have a big name and everything is given to you, obviously. But I mean, I regret two things. Well, maybe more, but two that I can talk about. Obviously more, yeah. But I regret that Don Johnson, I had a boyfriend that he was one of the top MTV. This was when the MTV had just come out. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, imagine that era, those times. It had just come out, and my boyfriend was the second big guy from MTV. So all these parties and craziness, and I met all these people, and then Don Johnson was like, he offered me a great part in Miami Vice. Mm-hmm. I turned it down. I'm like, well, I turned it down because I was having too much fun, with my ex-boyfriend and MTV parties and, flying here and there, whatever. I turned that down. And then I also turned down, which I don't know why. I think it was Reba McEntire had a show many years ago.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I was offered also a great part there. And I said no, and I'm like, I love country music. Yeah. I see me performing with, I wrote a couple of songs in English that have a little vibe of country. I love country music. It's rock and roll, so American. And I would love to perform at the Country Music Awards even more than at the Grammys. You know, and I turn it down. I'm like, what?
You know, just coincidentally, if you're talking about the sitcom just simply called Reba, I directed an episode of that show. And I hate to tell you this, but you can't find a lovelier person to work with.
I know.
And I know you turned it down.
Oh, I'm so
He
sad.
is
I love
outstanding.
it. I see her I love The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
I tape it because I don't like to see all the, you know,
The commercial.
the contestants and their families and this and that. No. I just like to see the interaction between the judges, the coaches, whatever you call it, and then when they're performing. I love that. But she seems so incredible, so sweet, so
Very, very
nice,
sweet,
so
sweet woman.
talented. I'm just stupid sometimes. Sometimes we're stupid. The human beings.
No, or you know what? Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
But I gotta say though, you know, listen, you shouldn't have regrets. This is why I asked you this question. You know, we have these stories. It's interesting. A very pretty Cuban actress makes sense to be on Miami Vice. Like that just seems like. So that one, I'll admit, I'm surprised you didn't go, well, when's my flight? You know,
I was
but,
having too
hey,
much
you were having fun.
with
Yeah.
MTV.
So you mentioned your activism. You do political activism. You also do animal activism a lot. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. The political side, I hate politics, and people go, you know, you have it. I do have a passion for it, because I just don't understand why can't we live in a world where we help others, where there's respect, where the energy is great, and then we will all be happier. There's so much greed. There's so much, it's such a power game. It's hard for people to control. It's hard for people to control power. It's hard for people to control money and their egos. Anyway, so when I was at the top of my career, in the music and in the acting, I dropped everything when I saw that Chavez, who destroyed Venezuela, when after he came out of jail, he tried to do a coup d'etat. And I was there in Venezuela because I was going to have a show the following night. And I'm in the hotel, and my father calls me, turn the TV on. There's this orangutan trying to, and I turn the TV on and I see, I saw everything, the blood, whatever. So he goes to jail. And when he comes out, I could not believe that, I would say 80% of the country was with him. Very rich people, very intelligent people, not so rich people, not intelligent people, everybody, I'm like, what happened? I can't allow that to happen. I can't allow Venezuela to become another Cuba. So I called my people and I said, I'm just going to concentrate on this. I can't. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was not Insta, there was nothing, right? So all I could do was find information through and send emails to wake up people, please, my friends, people that I'm like, you are so smart. You have a summa cum laude in this university. What are you doing? I could understand people that relate to him because of where he comes from and the way he looks, whatever. But so that's what I did. I stopped for 10 years. That's all I did. I stopped my career. It did a lot of harm. Also, that shows you that my diva side was to believe that this person here, only one person, could stop what Venezuela is, Right. Now. It's like, oh, come on. But a big issue that I have in my life is that I use my heart and not my mind. And when we make decisions, I've learned you have to use both. Right. You can't make a decision just with your mind or just with your heart. It has to be both, but it's hard for me because I go here. So when that all happened, I just couldn't believe it. Oh my God. I spoke twice in Congress here in Washington. One time I said they should put a bomb in Venezuela. Oh my God. I'm going to take the nationality. Obviously, I didn't want to kill the Venezuelans. I just wanted to put a
No,
bomb.
I know what you're saying. You wanted to make it all, you wanted to hit the reset button as opposed to bombing. Yeah.
So, so then I started to see, because I used to help a lot of animal foundations here in California. And then I started to see, oh my gosh, what's happening in Venezuela. If the people were hungry, if the people were in need of medicine, of food, of everything, I started to see then the animals, the dogs and the cats. And I saw I said, okay, people take care of people more than people take care of animals, which is the right thing to do, the normal thing to do. So I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people taking care of people. I want to take care of the animals. And then when the citizens started to leave Venezuela, a lot of them would leave behind their pets. And all of a sudden, you see the streets full of poodles, Yorkies, Labradors. I mean, you're like, what? What? Oh my God. So I created this foundation called, I'm sorry, it's really, it hurts me a lot. But anyway, I created this foundation called VEE Fauna, FAUNEA, V Fauna, which means Venezuela endorses fauna. You can find it in my Instagram as VEE Fauna 11. And what I do is I just send money to help with food, with surgeries, with whatever is needed, for those animals to survive. And also helping the activists, because the activists, I don't even know how they do it. I have no idea how they survive. They take a piece of bread out of their mouth to give it to their animals.
Right.
And I'm seeing there your baby. I have a black cat also, Bella. Okay, where are you? She was here and then she left. Okay.
My dog's 90 pounds. I'm not going to lift him to bring here.
There she is, Bella. Hey, come here. Come here and say hi.
We got other. I'm no longer the boss of my own household.
Oh, of course. I have Cookie, which is my dog, and Bella, my black cat, who's looking at me. They do whatever they want. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
gold eyes, gorgeous. Hey, and she beat me. She beat me so hard. The following day that I adopted her, because she was going to escape, and I had an appointment with the vet, and I didn't know, and I grabbed her through her tail so hard. She just turned around oh my God. But I got her. And my boyfriend back then, this is like 10 years ago, my boyfriend back then is like, you look at your blood. I'm like, we have to go to the vet. I haven't. So I arrived to the vet, blood coming out. Now they kill for me. Both of them. It's incredible.
What are you working on next?
Okay, I'm performing, singing. I was in. I have a couple of different shows. I have one show called Sinvergüenza, which means it has two meanings. It can mean shameless, or without shame, or naughty. Naughty. So what I do in that show is I have a guy with me, a gay guy with me, and he opens like, hello, welcome. It's like being in the living room of my house. And he opens the show. Hello, everyone, inviting people. How you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And here's Maria Conchita. So I come out, I sit down on the chair, and we just talk. And he asked me like, hey, is it true that that you tried the mushrooms and you went out to the street naked? I'm like, what? So I start talking about my life. It's like a bio series but live.
Mhm.
Okay.
I talk good things about me, bad things about me. I talk whatever, I don't care. And then after each segment, I perform a couple of my hits. So it's like 6 segments. And after each one, I sing. I have 3 band members only. My musical director plays the piano. I have a guitar player. Sometimes I have a violinist. Some other times no, and someone with a little bit of percussion.
Yep.
So that's one of the shows that I've been doing. It's been hard to sell because people don't understand what it. Oh, but is that a monologue? Oh, but no. It's then when they go, they're like, oh my God, they don't want to leave. They don't want me to stop talking. And hear me sing. Then my other show is a normal show where I sing my songs. It's my show, my concert. And I just came back from Mexico, and I perform with 2 different bands. I perform Friday and Saturday, and with 2 different bands. One is called, one is from Colombia, but they're in Mexico, and the other one is Mexican. They are Sonora Dinamita and Sonora Santanera. They're salsa, they're cumbias. I don't like that music. I mean, I don't like it at all. I'm a rocker. I'm a blues. I'm new age. Buddha bar, whatever. I'm in that era, man.
Yeah.
What happened was that I fell in love with the arrangements they did to 2 of my hits, my songs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had so much fun doing this. And you can see it in my Instagram, which is Maria Conchita _A. You can see with them dancing and singing. I'm like, I can't believe. So now I want to record my hits with one of them, with the Sonora Santanera. It's like we connect. The other ones are very good too, but with this one, we connected energy-wise. And it was so much fun. That's all I want to do. I want to do things that make me have a good time. Always.
Of course.
Always. I don't, I think I've done maybe twice in my whole life, twice in my whole career. Maybe I've done that for money. I don't. I just have to have fun. That's all I want to do. And
you're a true artist. That's why. That's the reward. Not money's nice. We need money. We need to survive. You need to, but I know what you're saying.
I don't have a prize. Because then I'm miserable. Like they called me to do last year, I think it was, the house of the celebrities where they go and they live in a house.
Oh yeah.
Like in the jungle, but here I'm like, how dare you ask me if I want to do that? I'm like, well, you offered me $1 million and I still have to think about it. I mean,
was it the Big Brother? Big Brother?
So something like that. I don't watch those shows, but it's like, but this is celebrities.
Right.
But maybe, they've done soap operas, they've done, I don't know what. I mean, it's like, okay, who else is there in my category? I mean, we're all the same as human beings. We all should be respected the same. Doesn't matter what you've done in life.
Yes.
We should all be respected. But at times like that, moments like that, offers like that, that's when you have to say, okay, who else is there like me? Like what we've done, Yeah. And again, I don't want to put them down because I respect everybody. But you got to think those things. And I don't want to be inside a house with people that I don't know, that it's like a planned attack to each other.
All they're going to do is edit the negativity into the show.
Now, there was another plan of recording something, but I can't talk about that. But something completely different than who I am and what I do, but it was going to be something like a category, like wow, but not. But this makes sense now to record with them my music into like salsa, and it makes sense. I'm going to have fun. People, it's going to be a hit because people love it and they're going to dance to it, and then so we're now in the process of deciding what to do, and also in November or in December, I performed also in Mexico at the 40th anniversary of the biggest gay club. And my manager saw the reaction between the gay people and me with them. And I'm very much loved by that community because although I'm not gay, I always said, listen, people have to do in life whatever makes them happy. Mm-hmm. We don't have to agree with it, but as long as they don't hurt me, as long as they are not involved with me or anybody else's lives, do whatever you want to do, what makes you happy. Respect them. Who cares? So I've always protected them in that way. So he saw that and he's like, oh my gosh, why don't we do a show for the Gay Pride Month, which is in June. Mm-hmm. So we're also talking about that. It will be called a gay night con Maria Conchita. And, and besides singing my songs, I would do the songs that I grew up with. Donna Summer, Gloria Gaynor, Thelma, Houston, YMCA. I mean, I'm really looking forward to doing that. So, we're in the process of all that stuff. I did a movie with Sally Kirkland called Sallywood. It's a great, fun movie with a great cast. And it's won about 80 awards. It's been in lots of festivals. And I think they're now doing, talking to see distributors and all that stuff. I don't know much about what's going on now with that. Mm-hmm. And I'm also in a film with, I don't have any scenes with him, but Jean-Claude Van Damme called Kill Them All 2. I was in Kill Them All 1. My character, I'm an FBI, senior FBI, very big role. And then the second part, they all went to Europe and they didn't take me. So I have a very small part.
Well, to me, I'm confused. Apparently, if there's a sequel, they didn't kill them all.
Yeah, right.
Gotta go back, yeah.
Yeah, well, not the lead ones, not the leads. Yeah. I would really like to have a series. I would really like to be home, stay home, go to work every day, and then hiatus, go do my shows, singing. I still have a lot of me that I still love it. And I want to continue doing this until I stop loving it. And until I just don't like to travel anymore as much as I used to. I don't. Once I'm there, once in Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, wherever I am, Peru, whatever, Colombia, then I have fun.
Right.
It's the traveling that is like, oh no, and the packing, oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. It's a pain.
So you mentioned Instagram. So how can people follow you on social media? You mentioned.
Oh, yeah. On Facebook, I have Maria Conchita Alonso Official, but it just in Spanish with one F and one C of Oficial, right. Maria Conchita Alonso Oficial. And then Instagram, I am Maria Conchita _A, which is for Alonso, my last name. Mm-hmm. And the same in Twitter X, but I wouldn't recommend too much there because I'm very political there. And okay.
Yeah.
So Maria, I want to thank you again for coming on. It's been such a pleasure getting to speak with you.
My YouTube channel. Obviously.
Oh, YouTube. Let's do this.
And I'm on, it's the same, Maria Conchita Alonso Oficial. And I'm in all the, I'm in Deezer, and I'm in Spotify, and I'm in everything that has music. I'm everywhere.
We'll
so they can
all the links when we post this.
You are amazing. Thank you. Thank you for opening up about everything, and thanks for being approachable. And next time I see you in person at one of our mutual friends events, I'm gonna just prepare. Yeah, I'm gonna come up and say thank you and give you a hug, and that's when you call security on me and get me out of there. Bye.
Oh no, it was a pleasure, and it was fun. As you can see, I don't stop talking. My manager goes crazy.
No,
He,
thank you.
he
Great.
literally, he has had to go on stage when I'm doing my Sinvergüenza, my shameless show, to get me out because I stay there answering to the people, blah, 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 talking, and he's like, man, 2 hours, 2 hours. I'm so glad. And thank you both. Thank you. It was fun. I
And
need
that-
2 glasses of water right now.
yeah, I know, right?
Well, again, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Moosie Drier. And again, a very special thanks to Maria Conchita Alonso. And please like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast. Listening to this podcast just makes you really cool.